Welcome to Coach, a global community for coaching mastery.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome to another episode of Coach, Global Community for Coaching Mastery, where we dive deep into what it takes to coach with mastery and also what it takes to be a masterful coach. Today, I'm super excited for this conversation with Eva. And Eva is a coach member. And there's so many questions, Eva, that I have for you. But first of all, allow me to introduce you. So Eva is based in Helsinki, Finland, and she is a certified coactive coach, an associate certified coach by International Coaching Federation. And she mostly coaches busy entrepreneurs and professionals in demanding, stressful jobs, focusing on stress management, life purpose, self-confidence, self-acceptance, concentration, recharge, and overall well-being. Eva, welcome.
Thank you, Leo. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you. Eva, I already have so many questions, but before we dive in, I would like you to introduce yourself. If you were to say, is there anything missing or any other angle that you'd like to use to introduce yourself?
Well, firstly, there's probably the personal angle. In addition to being a coach, I'm also a mother, a longtime partner. I'm a winter swimmer and an exercise nut. Those feel important to me to say. And as a coach, I like to think that I coach for greater awareness. Awareness about our thinking, our feelings, and how we act based on those thoughts and emotions, or how we do not act based on our thinking.
Yeah.
So I think those are the most important things.
Yeah. Wow.
I feel you need to know about me.
Thank you. I'm very curious about a few things. Number one, cold swimmer. And if you think there is any relationship between exposing yourself to extreme, let's say, conditions, exposing your body to extreme physical conditions, and what is the relationship to your well-being, mental well-being? That's one. And the second one, you mentioned about what we do and what we don't do. So that is the second question. But if we take the first one, is there a relationship that you noticed?
I think definitely exposing myself to cold, it calms me, and there's also research that shows that it helps you with focus. I'm not a life hacker. I don't want to constantly become some kind of better version of myself. I think it's just a lovely feeling, and I'm always more hot than cold. So it's a great way of sort of cooling myself down, both physically and mentally. And the feeling afterwards is just amazing. It does something. There's a bit of mixed research on what it does to your health, whether it's actually better for your, say, for your resistance to colds or flus or whatever. But I've noticed that it helps a lot.
Yeah.
And also it requires you to be present with your breathing. Otherwise, it's going to feel really uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
When I started out, I did it because my mother is a cold swimmer as well. I used to go swimming with her. Nowadays, I swim with my husband. And, at first it can feel really, really scary and not comfortable at all. But when you include your breath and calming down a little bit beforehand and just going for it, then it starts to feel really, really good.
Yeah. It's so interesting you're saying about focus, being focused in this moment with the cold swimming. And focus is a very rare commodity nowadays.
Yes.
And I'll just follow that thread for a little bit because I feel like many people are searching for focus. And the reality is that we get ever less focused, actually, with all the endless demands and distractions of the world. So I'm curious, besides using cold swimming as means to be more focused and to train that focus, what other tools or methods do you use for yourself and maybe in your coaching to help with developing that deep focus?
So for myself, I use, for example, meditation. I've been meditating for several years, but there were times in my life when I forgot about it. And now that I've gotten back to it, I realize how beneficial it is. I also work for a startup as a focus coach. They have a 6-week program, and there we explore all kinds of different tools, say mindful breaks between meetings, for example, screen-free time for sure. We all know how harmful excessive screen time is, and still I notice that it's very, very hard for people to put those phones away. So that's something I'm really mindful of for myself as well. As coaches, we have to be present maybe on social media. Um, Coaches are often present on several platforms, and it can easily get to us, feeling that you have to answer your customers immediately, putting out content all the time, commenting. So you have to be really, really mindful. How am I spending my time? If you ask your old, wiser self, what would they think about your phone use? What would they answer? It's so easy to spend your time on your phone instead of spending time on your life.
Do you think it's an escape? Is it an escape? Is it an addiction? Is it that we are avoiding some feelings, or is it just because it feels good?
It's addictive for sure. There's a dopamine hit every time we go and can scroll. So it has become too tempting, and especially if, say, we don't sleep well and we're already a bit stressed, a bit tired, it's very tempting to start scrolling, and then it becomes like this downward spiral, and then it's also, it affects our concentration, our intelligence even. And but the good news is it's also somewhat easy to also get rid of it and start doing things a bit differently. Everyone can try having maybe, say, 1 hour of screen-free time before they go to bed. But you need to have like a small strategy for that. Maybe putting the phone away, putting a sticker on it, hiding it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I love what you're saying, because your perspective is that, yes, this is the reality, but it's easy to change that. And I really, really love that, because all I hear around is how hard it is, how hard it is. It's so addictive.
Yeah.
And just you bringing that one line perspective where you say, well, it's actually, yeah, but it's actually easy to change. Just
Yeah.
brings so much hope.
Yeah. It takes a bit of an awareness that you start seeing what you're doing throughout the day. What are the situations where you go to your phone? Is it because you think you want to have a bit of a break? Well, you can have that break, but maybe do something else than being on your phone. And I mean, we used to live, before these phones were everywhere in our life. Most of us. Of course, it's different for young people, and there I think uh, it's a bit of a different kind of issue there with people who are, they grew up with the phones. They might not even remember a time when they were not constantly on their phone. But still, there's hope, for sure.
Yeah. Wow. I really, really like that, because holding that hope for situations that seem hopeless, it's so
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, like we've gotten tremendous things out of the phones, being able to connect, finding like say a like-minded community, being able to communicate with people who are close to us, but far from us physically, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah,
But we
absolutely.
need to be very mindful.
Yeah. And I'm sure there is a lot of demand of that kind of work in the line of work and clients that you do. And Eva, we'll just take a sharp left here because I'm very, very curious. I know you had a full career before coaching, before stepping into professional coaching. And just curious, what made you switch to coaching?
Coaching found me by coincidence. I was an entrepreneur before, but it was a dead end. And I think I saw maybe like an ad or an article while scrolling Facebook or something. And it was an article about different coaching schools. And it got me interested. I didn't know anything about coaching. And then I read through the article and was thinking, okay, maybe this could be something for me. And I didn't know whether it was it like teaching, training, consulting, what it was. The funny thing is, I actually had a very good friend who was a coach, and my sister was also a coach, but they lived abroad at the time, so we didn't speak that much about what they were doing professionally. It was always about the family or other stuff. And then I reached out to my friend and asked about her coaching journey. Turned out that she was a coactive coach, and she recommended the coactive route to me. And I ordered the book, and then I took was it called Fundamentals, the first course, and the rest is history. I mean, I knew then that this is the right thing for me. And I can still recall, I think it was either fundamentals or fulfillment, the course after fundamentals. It was during a weekend, and afterwards I went out for a walk. It was a beautiful winter day, and I saw some people on my walk, people I didn't know. And when I came back home, I could still vividly remember the people and some beautiful, formations of eyes that I had seen, because I was so present, and the experience was, well, magical is a bit of a kitschy word for me, but it was magical. There was something that shifted.
And here you are.
Here I am. And
Yeah.
here we are. If I hadn't departed on that journey, I would never have met you or your co-founder Alex.
Yes, indeed. We just don't want the magic to end, the magic of the present moment.
No, and I think that's like one of my cornerstones in coaching as well. The presence and the being, that has been a huge thing for me in coaching as well. Being more in the now, instead of always thinking about where will this next step lead, what comes after I do this. And it for me before, it was a lot about completion and not being in the learning, in the being, like enjoying the doing, not being in the doing just because I wanted to complete it.
Yeah. And that is such a big shift. And so many people talk about it, but it's very different than talking and actually experiencing. And I imagine the type of people that you work with, entrepreneurs and busy professionals, I imagine for them, it's all about doing and getting results. Now, I'm curious, when they start working with you, what do you notice that is missing in their lives?
Well, it varies, of course, a lot, but often there is this aspect of self-acceptance also, and accepting the moment and who they are right now. I mean, you can say, if you strive towards great goals, you want to have more sales or make more profit. If that's what you're constantly going after and feeling that unless I reach that milestone or that profit, those sales, you're constantly going to beat yourself up. And that's not a good place to be mentally. because you can also do it from a place of, this is where we are now. We are good here. I fully accept myself, and then work towards those goals. I think there's, when we constantly sort of have our view or vision in the future, there's so much we miss about what's happening right here, right now. And paradoxically, I think also that, when you're content in this moment and doing things from a place of joy and flow, then you're going to end up with better results as well.
So this sounds so right. Yet so very few people practice it. So on paper, everybody knows this.
Yeah.
In real life, very few actually practice. What's getting in the way?
That's a really, really good question. I think just stopping and connecting with what, really connecting with what's important. Yeah, it's so, I like to say that I take people off autopilot. I think the autopilot is, for a lot of people, they just keep going, and that's the only way they know. And sometimes they have to, hit the wall really hard for them to stop. But I would like to, come in before that happens and say, hey, what do you think happens if you continue like this?
Yeah. Yeah. And is it because our lives right now are busier, more demanding, or so there's this more awareness towards, needing to switch and improving your well-being, your being. But is it because we're busier, or is it because the collective consciousness is raising?
I think, yeah, of course, there's like a great cognitive load these days with all the information we have, and there's a lot of noise about how we should be better, do things better. But I think I think we're conditioned from already from when we're quite small, to always like achieve the next step. You go to school, you get grades, you have to have good grades. We're like conditioned to always look a little bit ahead, and say, like a parent, you do that as well, because you have to be prepared. You go out with your kids someplace and it's a disaster if you don't come prepared. We're always prepared for the next moment. So that's a pretty strong conditioning from the day we're like almost born. And we have this success narrative this day, that you have to constantly be a better version of yourself. I hate that saying. You are who you are today, and you can do things better and you can grow. But if you constantly have that mindset, I have to be better, it's going to be really, really tough mentally.
Oh, wow. Wow. I love how bold you are in that, because the best version of me, it can very quickly turn into huge pressure.
Yeah. And having to work hard. When I work with young professionals, maybe in their first or second job, and I hear them tell me, I've always had this mindset, back from home, maybe that you have to work hard. And then they go and work for these companies that say, we are a performance-oriented company. It can end up really badly, because those people are in their own lives already performance-oriented. And what they need is a place where they can be something else as well, where they can be seen, appreciated, and where they can work from a place of flow and not constant pressure, and really like not become the best versions of themselves, but be the great people they are.
If there's one thing I want people to take away from our interviews so far, is that it's okay not to chase this need. You're chasing the best version of you, because it becomes, again, it's similar to the story we're telling ourselves, well, I'll be happy when. So I'll be happy when
Yeah.
I'm this version of me. And that never,
Yeah.
it's so interesting how these lies are really finding their way into the personal development world as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We have to be really careful as coaches.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great if people want change, they want to do something differently, but at the same time, we have to be really mindful of their inner dialogue.
Yeah.
What's the place they're coming from?
Yeah. Wow.
And I think there's a great paradox, because when you work from that place, when you're okay with yourself, then you can achieve great things as well.
Yeah. So true.
Yeah, in a you can do it in a way that's sustainable for you.
And that is really key. Whatever sustainable way for you um, to walk with self-acceptance towards whatever you want to create in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eva, and I'm curious. So again, I'm very curious. If I were your client, busy professionals, entrepreneurs, organizations, I know you work with the organizations as well, with startups, in this case, helping them focus. What would a journey with you generally look like? If you're to give me a taster, because there's a lot of there are a lot of misconceptions about coaching, and if we were to just give people a sneak peek or what to expect when coaching with you.
Mhm. Yeah, the clients bring their topics and focus areas, of course, but I always like to look at the client through let's call it a holistic lens. Their whole life situation, um, their health, in the sense that if you want to do things differently, then if you're very stressed, you're not sleeping, you don't have time for yourself and your well-being, then I want to factor that into the picture, and so that the client is aware of that. Because coaching is also a little about learning to think differently, learning to do things differently. And if you're very stressed, or say you're not sleeping very well, then that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah.
So there's always that lens that's more like a tailored approach to the client situation. There's never a sort of a
Cookie
like
cutter.
a cookie cutter process. No.
Yeah. Beautiful. So I'm sure you have so many coaching stories. And we have to keep in mind, of course, coaching confidentiality. But what is one of maybe most memorable transformations or stories or anything that you can share, keeping confidentiality, from your coaching experience, of maybe a transformation of an individual company, something that really created a visible impact?
I think it's when clients tell me that they have managed to slow down a little bit. I think for a lot of people, that's a great transformation.
Wow.
And a funny experience once was a client actually sang to me, not a song about me, but something they had done, and so, a story related to that, what they did when they did something a little bit differently, and that was really, really funny.
Wow. Wow. So I imagine, they're stepping into parts of themselves they didn't even know existed, or give themselves permission to be in.
Yeah, and do things differently. And once I also had a client tell me about another client. They knew each other, and had told each other that they were being coached by me. And the other one said, I'm noticing such a huge difference in this person. I was like, wow. Because of course, we as coaches, we don't always get to be there to witness the transformation, the changes.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And slowing down seems impossible to achieve when they are asked to be slowed down. I mean, the associations that generally pop up is laziness, procrastination, giving in, failing, not pushing hard enough, all this crazy narrative that we have around entrepreneurship and around success, and how powerful that they can just say, hey, I'm actually okay to slow down.
Yeah.
Because in that slowing down, that's where the biggest creativity, innovation, impact, purposeful action is born.
Yeah. And that's probably something that the clients are not really aware of. Also, the sort of physical side of it, when we sleep enough, our memories are consolidated, we learn. And from that place, we can innovate, we can come up with new ways of seeing. But if we don't give our brain a rest, then it's not going to work for us.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And it's so interesting that you are paying so much attention to that physiological part. So I call it the hardware and the software, because sometimes coaching is perceived as very narrow and only addressing thoughts, behaviors, values, purpose, and so on. But what I hear, you're actually looking through a wider lens, a holistic lens, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, and if there's one thing that has informed me, I've experienced burnout myself. So I remember how it felt when your, systems start, falling apart completely.
Yeah.
And that informs me a lot. I want to help people avoid overwhelm and burnout.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of each coach, and that's the beauty of and the wealth that you're bringing to your clients, because you're not only tapping into your professional experience, but also from your personal experience. And I think that is the biggest gift, gold diamond in this coaching relationship, when you show up fully as a coach and as a
Yeah,
human being.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we all of us coaches, we have something different to
bring to
to bring to the table.
Yeah, beautiful. Eva, I heard so many insights so far. So one big insight I heard from you, and this is something I'm going to actually write down and remind myself of, the importance of being in the present moment, and that wonderful moment when you saw the world differently, when you connected to the moment. Is there any other light bulb moment that you had, maybe through your coaching journey, becoming a coach, or while being a coach and coaching, that really shifted your perspective? Some big insights that you could share with us.
I think every conversation brings about new insights for the coach as well, not only for the client. I can't say there's a huge light bulb moment, but maybe when I was being coached in coach training myself, my realization about always be looking at the end result instead of being in the process, I think that was really, really big for me. And that's something I'm constantly working on. When I notice when I'm preparing a workshop or something that I'm already thinking about the presentation and how will this look when it's ready. And then once I start working on it, I just slow down and start having all these like ideas and thoughts and realize, okay, this is what this is about. This should feel like this, like this is interesting while I'm working on it, not just the end result. I think still that's a huge realization for me personally.
Yeah. I mean, if we can at least 20% of the time be in that energy,
Yeah.
our lives will feel completely different.
Yeah.
Because it feels like most of people, including myself before coaching, life felt like a train station, constantly waiting.
Yeah.
And when you're waiting constantly, you're impatient, you are anxious, you are imagining the future, you're everything but being in the moment. And actually, you don't want to be there, you don't want to be in the train station, and it's life lost, basically.
Yeah. It's a life lost.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. Thank you for that, Eva. And if we continue that theme, and if you were to have the opportunity to share a message, one message with the world, your clients, maybe, the people that you care about, and the wider world, an advice or an opinion, what would that be?
Be kind to yourself.
Mm. Yeah. Wow. Can I take it for myself as well?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Yeah, I really, really felt it. Thank you for that.
And maybe like, what would it take for you to accept yourself with loving kindness?
Yeah. Wow. Thank you. I take it on behalf of everybody. Thank you so much. Eva, and before I ask my last question, and by the way, I don't know where the time went. This was so deep and beautiful. Where can people find you? Where is the best place to find you and connect with you?
So they can connect with me on LinkedIn and on my webpage, which I think is evahartela.coach. They find my contact information, my phone number, my email. So that would be the best way to reach me. I these days coach mostly online through Zoom, sometimes on location in Helsinki, and I coach in Finnish, Swedish, and English.
Wow. Wow. That's incredible. Please don't hesitate to reach out to Eva and really feel that, really beautiful changes in your heart. And Eva, my last question is about you as a coach. What is your vision what is the vision that you hold for yourself as a coach?
Constant growth. What it means from time to time varies. I had a period where I was really eager to learn new tricks of the trade, so to speak. But I have slowed down a little bit on that. But I'd love to bring some new elements to my coaching. I took a course in continuous connected breathing last spring. It was by another co-active coach, and it was absolutely fantastic. And I would love to add that as a tool to help my clients with visioning.
Yeah.
It
Wow.
felt very special. And now that I put this out here, then I think my first client would be the coach community. I have to muster up the courage to have a session with you.
Yes. Oh, yes. We will hold you to that and we'll take it. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Wow, Eva, what comes to me is you're the kind of coach who doesn't only have deep insights, but you are following your own insights and your own wisdom. And in this world where more people talk about transformation, for me, what I'm getting, you are living it. And whatever you're bringing to the world, you have the integrity to do it yourself, and that is priceless.
Thank you. I feel that I'm pretty much, walking the talk, so
Yeah.
to speak. And I think that's really important in today's world as well for leaders. You
Yeah.
can't just, talk the talk. You have to show what it means to take full responsibility.
Yeah.
That you have the power to impact, but you also have the responsibility to impact. That
Yeah.
it's more than words.
The coach who is more than words is all about the impact and the integrity. It was such an incredible pleasure and honor, Eva. Thank you so much for being a member of Coach, such a valuable member of Coach, and for this incredible interview. To everyone who is watching, do reach out to Eva. Thank you, Eva, for being here with us today.
Thank you, Leo, and thank you and your co-founder Alex for having founded Coach. which is also a very important community for me. And I suppose all the other coaches who are there as well.
Yeah.
So thank you.
Absolutely. For everyone watching, if you enjoyed this conversation, be sure to share, to like, to comment, to reach out to Eva, and most importantly, subscribe so that you can keep updated with our future interviews. Until next time, be well and see you again.
This recording was offered to you by Coach, a global community for coaching mastery.